What's up, Football Daily? It's time for another hot take
Hot
and
takes.
today.
Everybody in the building. Sorry, I'm still in MC mode after Saturday.
First up, we have Fabricius Jr., Stephen Fabricius. He says Courtois is the most overrated keeper in the world.
Ooh.
I'm not mad at this, actually. I'm going to agree.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways it's easy to agree. He's definitely overrated, isn't he?
Yes.
He's not a Real Madrid standard keeper, probably worse than Keylor Navas even. But I don't know, I feel like there's other keepers out there who are more overrated. I just can't name them off the top of my head right now.
I don't know, man. Like, Courtois, I think he's saved below expectation at Chelsea every season, bar maybe one. I feel like people just think he's good because he's like very tall and he's a commanding presence in the box. But Kepa hasn't looked that great at Chelsea so far. But when you compare Courtois to other keepers in the league, I don't think he was even as good a shot stopper as Lloris. Certainly not in the same league as De Gea or Edison. He's just kind of a big bloke. And I don't know, I've just never really been impressed by him. Especially when he cuckolded Kevin De Bruyne, who I feel like seems like a nice guy and probably not going to get that many shots at love. So let him have that one. Matt Bosworth brings our next one. He says Drogba was the best big game striker in the game. I feel like that's just sort of done, isn't it? I basically agree.
Yeah, he was good in the big games, wasn't he? He won a couple of FA Cup finals. He kind of won the Champions League for Chelsea, didn't he? Which is pretty big, I must admit.
Pretty good.
But like, I don't know. I was thinking about it. I feel like Thierry Henry was a really good big game striker.
He was good
in
at football.
the Prem. I feel like there were others. There must be others. Come on,
I mean,
like
Aguero
Ronaldo,
has
Cristiano
a pretty
Ronaldo.
outrageous.
Yeah, Aguero is pretty amazing in the big games. Although I think he's like not scored in like 7 or 8 games against big clubs in England at the moment.
But then again, I feel like every now and then he'll just score like 5 against Spurs, just kind of for fun. Like, I don't know, I find it hard to look past Drogba, but to be honest with you, I kind of think the big games are bullshit. As a general rule, everyone is a bit worse in the big games because you're playing against better sides and it's harder to score against good sides than bad sides. But that Chelsea team tended to win games 1-0, and the guy who'd get that goal would be Drogba. Yeah. So, I mean, in a way, everything was geared towards making him look better, if that makes sense. But to be honest with you, who's the best big game player? Ji-sung Park, best big game player in any position.
He was pretty good.
He was great.
He was pretty amazing.
It seems like a nice bloke.
Tevez as well, actually.
Tevez was good.
He's very good in the big games.
Yeah, because he's also like, he's got quality to him, which I've always really loved about Tevez. Like, when I imagine Tevez, I imagine that the top of his head is connected to the sides of his shoulders, like a teepee.
Almost kind of orcish.
Yeah, like an orc, or a butt plug. Like, he just like sort of burrows his way through defences. Yeah, like an orc, or a butt plug. Like, he just like sort of burrows his way through defences. That's what I think. I was genuinely trying to think of an alternative to that, and that was all I came up with. So, apologies. Okay, Mikhail Borisov has the next one, and he says, at Spurs official, so he's tagged them in this, is the most pointless club in the Premier League. What do you mean by pointless?
Silly.
What does that mean?
Just like they shouldn't be there, which is just stupid, isn't it? Good team. Just had their best start to a Premier League season ever. Maybe not anymore after they lost to Man City, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Because there are way more pointless teams in the Premier League, aren't there? Let's get this straight.
Huddersfield, Cardiff,
Burnley,
Arsenal, Fulham, Man United. Scum club.
Horrible.
Man United, get rid of them and just have City. Get rid of all London clubs except for Palace. I don't know why I'm advocating
this is hot takes
but,
on our side, mate.
I just really welcome the opportunity not to support Arsenal anymore, but I really don't have that option. I'm just stuck supporting them forever, and I wish their results would stop hurting me. I think Spurs have got more of a point than they have at almost any point in the last 50 years. Like, Spurs are suddenly a good team. They're fun to watch. Yes, they've had some bad form recently, but that's kind of coincided with Dele Alli and Christian Eriksen being injured, which would be a problem for any side. Mauricio Pochettino is a fantastic coach, and at the very least, Spurs have a point. in that they've produced a next generation of talent which is going to define world football for the next 10 years. I think that Harry Kane is going to be, provided he overcomes his injury problems this year, he's going to be one of the best strikers in the world for the next half decade at least. Dele Alli is going to be a top midfielder probably for the next decade. Christian Eriksen has still got 5 years of being an outstanding creator in him. And people like Davinson Sanchez also look excellent. So it just seems to me that in terms of announcing the arrival of one of world football's best managerial talents and a bunch of playing talent, Spurs have given themselves a purpose.
Just remember, like, Helder Postiga. Those are the days when they were pointless.
Wigan, they were pointless.
Yeah,
and Sunderland, Sunderland, honestly, they could use that stadium as something useful. Like, I don't know, just let drunk people sleep there. It's the northeast, isn't it?
Horrible.
Okay, Gianluca Torina, who has a Chelsea logo in his icon, DP, display pic. He says, Ross Barkley will be as good, if not better, than Frank Lampard. That's mental.
I can smell a troll. I think you've just given this one so you can get on the show and you've succeeded. Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. Ross Barkley's going to be 25 this coming December, and we looked at his numbers just now, and he's got about 200 career games and 34 goals. By the same point, Frank Lampard had about 300 games, a bit over, and had 55 career goals. And after he turned 25, Frank Lampard, I think, went on, was it an 11-season run of getting double figures in the league every season, including the season he...
Not bad.
In the season he turned 32, getting 22 in the league. 22 in 36.
Machine.
At 32. So if Ross Barkley gets double figures for the next decade, sure. Give me a player that you think is Ross Barkley's kind of like what he can aim at realistically.
Trying to think.
Fletcher.
Darren Fletcher or Stephen Fletcher?
Darren.
I'd say a mixture between
the two.
Got
no shot, Stephen.
Yeah, maybe Darren Fletcher. Not quite the same
Cleverly.
kind of player though. Oh yeah, Cleverly. Yeah, I think maybe more around the Cleverly mark.
You know, he could definitely surpass Ramsey if he stays fit and plays under Sarri. He could be like what people think Ramsey is.
He's a good little player. I remember when he was like 18, 19. Like, I don't know, his raw talent was remarkable. It's just not happened for him. But he seems to be doing all right, doesn't he?
But that's the thing, right? He was injured until very recently, and it's kind of like we're 10 games into the Premier League season. Like, if he sees out the rest of the season without a major injury and puts up good numbers the whole time, maybe we'll start to believe. But until he does that, I mean, he's just a liability. So let's see what you got, Ross. Kieran Hughes has our last one, and he says, this Liverpool team are the most overhyped team in Premier League history. McCubbin, I'm coming to you. I'm putting my phone away.
Okay, cool.
Closing that.
I mean, I'd like to say yes because I'm a Man United fan, but I'm going to say no because I've watched Liverpool over the last year on and off, and
they are good.
They're good.
They're quite good.
They are good. They're pretty good back to front now. You can't really pick too many holes in them. Their defence is really good now. Has been improving over the last 12 months. Even before Van Dijk got there, it was improving. Now he's in there. Now Alisson's in there. It's just they're pretty. Yeah, you can't really put many past them. Their midfield, okay, work in progress, but again, really good, really talented players in there. You know, even Wijnaldum's been pretty good over the last few months. Henderson was pretty good towards the end of last season. And their attack just speaks for itself, doesn't it? So I can't really say. And they've got one of the best managers in the world. I think like they're definitely not overhyped. They're not going to win the league, but they are probably going to run City close to up to a certain point, I think.
I think that they will not get close to City this year.
What, not close at all? Surely there will be a less of a gap between them and City than there was between Man United and City.
Maybe, but their numbers are substantially worse than they were last year, and City's are better than they were last year. So, I mean, obviously it depends on injuries and stuff like that. And to be fair, up until about January last season, people were saying Liverpool, you know, they have a soft centre, they're easy to get out at the back. And then after Christmas, they just took off after Van Dijk arrived and Robertson came in and Alexander-Arnold. So it's entirely possible that around January, Keita, Fabinho, all these guys are regulars in the team, and suddenly they just take off. But there were points last season when they were as good as City. And this year, at no point have they been as good, even as they were at their best points last season. So I see what you're saying, but they are still the second best team in the league. They're not in the top 3 or 4 for the Champions League, but they'd be in the top 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah.
And they're still a work in progress. Everyone there's still really young. So I mean, I know what you're saying. You just don't like Liverpool. That's the thing. All these hot takes just come down to I don't like Liverpool. And it's just like, why do you care about them? Like, you're a Man United fan. I thought you're the biggest club in the world.
We are, commercially.
Yeah, commercially. So that's all we've got time for on hot takes this week. But if you enjoyed this video, what should they do in the comment?
They should go and check out Stat Wars, the league. I think it's out today as well. And I believe it's between you and Jackson. Don't know the result.
Tight one.
Ooh, tight one, apparently. Okay. And also go and check out the comments show if you want to check out more weird and wonderful edits from Kieran behind the camera. Go to EFD from last Saturday and check out this Saturday's one as well, because it's sure to be a treat.
Bye.